Welcome back to Chasing Common Ground. Today we're going to try something a little bit different. What we're going to do, as you can see, I'm wearing a Bumble hat. This is not sponsored by Bumble, but it works good for securing the microphone because I am about to hop on to my Echo bike, which is basically a fan resistance bike. If you want to see my workout, you can tune in on YouTube or watch on video on Substack. I'm going to ask some commonly asked questions or just questions that are designed to serve my audience. I've used ChatGPT to generate these. So if you are curious as to where I came up with the flow of questions, that is that. It knows quite a bit about the show, knows quite a bit about the audience, and it just was a sneaky way to generate content today. And I'll be able to get my workout. So I'm going to hop on the bike for probably about 2 miles, maybe more, maybe less. Let's go. So I should be all mic'd up. You should be able to still hear me. We'll find this out later. And if the audio doesn't turn out great, then we'll know. First question here is, the question is on mental health and wellness. And I'm just going to be discussing strategies for maintaining mental well-being, especially in the context of current global challenges like the economy or inflation or just challenges with maintaining quality of life. So some things that I'm going to focus on is the importance of staying grateful on a day-to-day basis. And it can seem fluffy or maybe even as if I am not considering everything that there is to be considering about how we often compare our struggles with other people as if we're trying to one-up another person. But the more important thing that we need to consider is that everybody's struggles are valid, especially given the fact that the only person who really is experiencing that firsthand is that person. So as long as you are not belittling the experience of somebody else, it only makes sense for you to feel a little bit of resistance with whatever your life is throwing you. But with that said, from a anecdotal point of view, in the people that I've met over the years and the struggles that they have faced, the people that I've known with the biggest struggles have overcome them with the best attitude. People battling cancer are always finding ways to dig deep and stay positive. While there's no reason for them to be positive all the time, they're able to find a way nonetheless. So the way that I stay positive is, aside from the lifestyle aspects like getting enough sleep, ensuring I'm getting adequate nutrition, and staying active, some of the ways are I'll frame my day with wake up rituals. My rituals are not very advanced. I just like making my coffee with a French press. I like to start the day with good music. Sometimes it's literally songs titled Good Day or classic music or smooth jazz. I tend to either create boundaries where people can't start my day with their bad news. Sometimes that takes time. Sometimes you have to distance yourself from, we call them sad dogs. You distance yourself from sad dogs over a period of time, or you just mute people's conversations so that you can't see everybody complaining in a specific chat or an incoming call, etc. You really do have to protect your energy and take some time to reflect on what's going well. And in most cases, you'll find yourself having to do similar things throughout the day, just not allowing negative things to consume you. So then the next one here, this one goes around social justice and activism. So what I would say is that the most powerful things to show compassion towards other people in their situations is to be the best, most versatile version of yourself. Because if I think about causes that I cared about, the ways that I can empower people the most is often with my time or
some kind of financial contribution. So if I'm not able to volunteer for them, then I will push myself in my career so I can make some kind of a financial donation. And sometimes that could be humanitarian aid, or it could be a donation to the food bank. And if I am not at my best and I'm struggling on a personal level because I get too wrapped up in social media, then that makes it a bit of a struggle. The next question here is examining how technology advancements are impacting daily life, relationships, and personal growth. So this is a big one because I find that technology definitely has an impact on how people frame their connections. So they might think that they're really connected and they're really attentive to who they are as a person and what they're looking for. But I find that it's skewed greatly by our point of view based on someone's internet persona. We aren't having real conversations the way we would have 20 years ago. So my challenge to most people would be to take time to have more real conversations and take those as the reality above and beyond what you know to be true from what you've seen on social media. And this comes up a lot where if somebody is used to seeing the highlight reel of somebody on a dating app or on an Instagram profile, they'll often take it as that is that person as a whole, and they couldn't possibly have any flaws, when in reality, nobody's perfect. And there's nothing wrong with that. Nobody has to be perfect. And so we have to take into account that chances are everybody's going to have some quirks. They're going to have some things that make them relatable. And they're going to have some things that require some level of compromise. But there's a lot of good things in life that require some amount of compromise. Whether it be that some people need a little bit more patience when going on steep hikes, or maybe some people, it could be some kind of a communication thing where not everybody is outgoing or not everybody is patient. And so a person that's not patient would probably require more patience from the people around them. Next thing here, right now we are at 2.27 miles. Not bad. So cultural diversity and inclusion. The reason that this comes up is because I don't want to be perceived as a one-trick pony or somebody with too heavy of a bias. And so if I have the experience to learn about somebody else's food or somebody else's traditions or somebody else's religion, I think it enhances my life. And I could only assume that it could probably have a similar effect on somebody else's. Because the more we learn about the people we don't know anything about within ethical parameters, as long as they're not cannibals, the more that we learn about people that we know nothing about, the more we'll probably find that we have something in common. And even cannibals probably have something in common with us. It's just they're probably going to eat somebody. So buyer beware. Next thing here is personal development and productivity. So I'm going to share some insights on habits, routines, and mindsets that contribute to personal and professional growth. For me, I, as a self-employed person, am always going to be doing my bookkeeping throughout the year. And sometimes that is just the amount of invoices I put out, the amount of revenue I did, how my calendar looked. And over the years, all that stuff has transformed so much. But if I didn't take the time to reflect, if I wasn't doing my own accounting, I would take that for granted. I would think, why am I not where blah blah is? I would think, why am I not further along? And what I find is a lot of people are like that, where they could be 2 years in, 1 year in, 6 months in, and they're looking at somebody who's been doing something for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, and they're wondering why they aren't in that person's spot. What I would say is, enjoy where you're at right now. I saw a Facebook post recently where I was wishing that people perceive me as being older. So when how old I was, they'd say they'd be guessing like 5 years older than what I was at that time. And I felt that was like a status symbol, like I was entitled to more. But in reality, if I just owned the stage of life that I was in, there was so much opportunity. Unfortunately, there still was opportunity, but I really had to make a mindset shift. And now in my 30s, I'm wishing that I would have capitalized on owning where I was at that point and just being grateful for the opportunities and not trying to have some kind of a status in my early 20s, not trying to come off as wiser than I was or more mature than I was. Because admittedly, I made a lot of mistakes. I learned a lot in a decade. So if you are a decade younger than me, enjoy the journey. This is wild because I'm like gasping for air. So the talking sounds really funny. So if this episode is listenable, thank you. And if it is a little bit of a tough listen, just keep in mind I'm almost at 4 miles. So the next point here is health and fitness. So I'm discussing topics related to physical health, fitness routines, and overall well-being. What I can say about that is throughout the course of your life, you're going to have different fitness modalities that you gravitate towards more than others. This isn't unusual. So for myself, I've done competitive cross-country running. I played soccer. There was a period of time when I played pond hockey with neighborhood kids. And there was a period of time when I would play rec sports. I did dodgeball. I did basketball. I played basketball in high school. I did a little bit of badminton. I did some track. And then I went through a phase where I did a lot of spin classes. And I did some CrossFit and I did some jiu-jitsu. And I will undoubtedly probably do all kinds of other things as I get older while keeping some constants. As you can see, I still have a soft spot for being on the bike, but the bike just looks different now. And most likely, jiu-jitsu will be a fixture in my life for years to come. It's been over 2 years so far, and you just layer things on. And you understand that you go through different seasons, and you make more connections, and some people, you meet them, and it's like they're there for life. And some people, you meet them, you gain from it, they gain from it. You almost get to learn about yourself through somebody else. And then you amicably part ways. And where when I was younger, I thought that was terrible. As I've gotten older, I realized respectfully, everybody only has so much time. So that makes time that much more precious as you get older, because you start to realize we only have so much time to make connections. So every connection that you make, you have to understand that time is fleeting and you have to make it count. So if you run a race and you're running alongside somebody and you befriend somebody new, you have to enjoy that moment. But it looks like my battery's gonna die. Honestly, gonna end this episode. But thank you for tuning in, and I hope that you enjoyed listening to me as I went about 4.5 miles. And we'll catch you on the next one.